Welcome, everyone. My name is Asia Stupart, and I am the MEFA Pathway Program Coordinator. I'm so glad to be joining you all on this webinar tonight. We will be talking about creating and updating a resume with MEFA Pathway. Before I get started with a few housekeeping notes, this webinar is being recorded. That's just so that once this webinar is finished, I'll be able to provide you all with a link to view the webinar recording. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to either put them in the chat or you can follow up with me after the webinar and I'll be sure to connect with you. All right, so let's get started. So first, MEFA Pathway is a free, easy, and interactive platform for students in grades 6 through 12 that helps them plan for their post-secondary success. The first thing I want to do is be on the right page, right? So the first page is mefapathway.org. You can see it here. I'm going to click on I'm a student. And for any first-time user to MEFA Pathway, we encourage you to register an account. And it's easy. This takes less than 5 minutes to register for your account. Since I already have an account for this webinar, I'm going to log in to my account using my username and password. So log in. And I'm successfully logged in. So here, upon logging in, students will be able to see their dashboard. So the dashboard serves as a place, sort of like a landing page. Students will be able to see their appropriate grade, the last activity date, as well as other actions that they can take to continue on their path and stay on track. We can see that students will be able to update their profile, create a resume, so on and so forth, all on the dashboard. Here we have a video series that we have started pre-COVID, where we essentially interview students across the Commonwealth to see how they were using MEFA Pathway and how it was helping them with planning for college and career. We also have featured scholarships listed, so students will be able to view a scholarship, see the amount, the deadline, and details, and of course, learn more. So tonight, we're going to break up the webinar into 2 sections. So the first section is creating a resume, and the second section is updating a resume. So the first thing I want to do is hover over to profile details. So once students get to My Profile Details tab, one thing I want to know is that the My Profile essentially serves as a backdrop for the information that we are going to add to our resume, as well as the information that will show up on our digital portfolio. But since tonight we're focused on our resume, we'll spend a couple of minutes just going through the sections of the My Profile and just seeing how easy it is for students to be able to come in here, add information, save it, and then continue on their way. So the first thing that students want to do is review their personal information. Students can edit any information that is not correct. They can also add in information such as their email address, city, their name, phone number, year of graduation, gender, ethnicity, country or citizenship, and then state. It's really important that if students are adding or updating any information to the My Profile, that they hit save, because if they add information and then forget to hit save, that information will not populate in the section that they hope that it will populate in. Now that we have our profile information, our personal information rather, let's go over to school. So students can either hit continue here, or they can hit the school tab, whichever works best for them. So here we have the currently attended school, and students can add any school that they've previously attended. They can also add any college coursework just by clicking the Add New button. And they can type in the name of the college that they added. Working, but it's okay. Usually it does work. It's okay. They can add a course here, and they can add the city, the date, and then hit save. And then go on to the next one. The next section is academics. So students will want to be able to add in their academic information, ranging from GPA to test scores, ACT scores, TOEFL scores, any score or any test that a student has received, they can easily add in that information on their profile. Again, by hitting edit, add new, and then save. The next tab is activities. So students will want to be able to add any activities that they currently or in the past have participated in. So whether your student has in the past participated in dance, or if they currently participate in basketball, I played basketball in high school, or if they participate in newspaper club, whatever activity, nothing is too big or too small, and they can add that here. Again, by clicking add new, they can put in the type of activity. So for example, we can do dance. So since I'm a 10th grader, I'm gonna put 10th grade, and I'm gonna also put 9th grade because I did that in 9th grade. I'm also gonna put when I participated in this activity. So I'm gonna put school year. And if a student plans on participating in this activity in college, they can select yes or no. So we'll put no. And then they'll want to put in their position that they held. So they're a captain, and you can say created new dance routine. And then hit save. And here we can see how easy it is to add a new activity to the list. Right here, this is the new one that we added. And if students want to remove a list, an activity from the list, they can do that by clicking the remove button. And we really encourage students to come in here as often as they can throughout the school year to add in and fill in their profile section, because as students go throughout their academic career, their academics, their activities, and their honors and awards, all of that is going to change as they progress through high school. So if they're able to come in here throughout the course of the year, like routinely, they'll be able to have a nice filled profile with information that they can look back on and say, wow, I did this in 10th grade, I did that in 11th grade, and just see how much they've grown and continuing on that post-secondary success plan. Next, we have our honors and awards. So here, students can add any honor or any award that they have received. So I put in, as an example, I put in most valuable player for basketball. So if I want to add a new honor and award, I click on add new. Students can select the honor and award title, the sport or activity, they can describe the honor or award, and again, selecting when they were involved or when they received that honor or award. Next, we have our skills and strengths. So the great thing about the skills and strengths section is that it allows students to highlight any top 8 skills currently on this list that they currently possess. So for example, if a student has a skill or a strength, and an example would be self-motivated, a student can select any of these. First, they'll want to make sure that they choose up to 8. So they can select or deselect in this case. So they'll deselect communication, and let's say also deselect confidence. And let's say your student is proactive and teamwork. Then the student can hit save and view their top skills and strengths on this list. So it's important that students choose up to 8. They don't have to choose 8. They can choose 4. They can choose 3. As long as it's up to 8 of the list, they will be able to move on to the next page. So the next tab we have is employment. So since we're going to be talking about resumes tonight, employment is a really big portion of creating and putting together a resume. So if you are working with a student, and let's say your student has had a job in the summer working at an ice cream shop, or maybe they worked at Starbucks, or maybe they currently work as a babysitter, no job is too big or too small for your student to add here. It's really just a nice place to have all your employment information listed. So students will want to be able to click on Add New. Then they can easily put in the name of the company or business, the address, the city, the start date or end date if they currently work there, as well as the position, and as well as the description of the position that they held. And then lastly, they'll want to put in how often did your student participate or work at this job. So whether they worked for 20 hours or 10 hours, and then if they were involved in the summer or the school year or both, they can check that off here and then hit save. And one tip that I often share is that if your student has worked in a job in the past, so let's say they worked at Ron's Ice Cream from 2020 or 2019 to 2020, it's really important that if you are adding a description of the duties, that for any job you've worked in the past, your descriptions are in past tense as opposed to present tense, because you currently do not work there. And on the flip side, for any jobs that you currently work at, your descriptions will ideally want to be in present tense. And we'll see that as an example later on during this webinar, but I just wanted to point that out in case there were any questions about that. All right, last but not least, we have our certification tab. So here is a place where students can add any certification that they might have received, whether they're CPR certified or marketing or coding, whatever certification they have, they can add that here. Simply by clicking the add or edit button and adding the name, where they received the certification from, the date, whether it expires, and if it does expire, they'll want to put in the expiration date. And it's really easy for students to be able to delete or remove a certification from this list simply by clicking this trash can right here. So I'll just remove this digital marketing certificate, and then again, remembering to hit save. And then here we have it. All right, so we finished all of our profile details. We're back on our dashboard. Next, we're going to want to head over to the resume. So we can click on Resume Builder to really see all of what we added in the profile details show up in our resume. So as you know, resumes are an important way for an employer to know about your student, whether they're interested in engineering or science or data, whatever interest your student has. The resume is a great way for any employer, whether you're applying for a job, an internship, an apprenticeship, anything along those lines. It allows an employer to know more about your student. And here, if you are ever wondering how to create one, or you're looking for how to create a cover letter, we have this great resource right here that provides like templates and examples, as well as additional tips for creating a cover letter. And we also have formats for both the cover letter and the resume samples, just as extra guidance for you. So the first thing that I want to do is, or your student will want to do rather, is think about creating an objective. So an objective is a short statement at the beginning of a resume that really reflects what your student has already achieved and how they are a perfect fit or a perfect match for the position that they are applying for. So it really, again, allows the employer to know more about your student, about the position that they're applying for or the internship that they're applying for. It allows them to get a quick snapshot of your student. So here we can put in an example. And once the student adds an objective, the next thing that they can do is they can customize their resume. So remember, everything that we added in the profile details tab shows up here. So we'll see that everything is listed. And the great thing about this resume builder is the fact that students can also select and deselect anything that they do or do not want to show up on the final resume. So for example, I can deselect cashier, I can keep barista, I can keep daycare assistant, and I'll also keep my honors and awards and my activities and my skills, and also my certifications. Another tip that I often share is regarding the objective. If your student, let's say you want your objective to really be in line with the kind of job that your student is hoping to apply for. So for example, if your student is working or interested in working in STEM and your student has jobs that are related to STEM or shows characteristics or has responsibilities working in the STEM field, you'll really want to highlight those jobs. If your student has an interest in STEM or doesn't have, let's say they worked at a babysitter or they worked at a grocery store, it's really important that your objective and the job that they show go together, because it really will help show the future employer how your student will be a good fit for the job and how their experience shows and ties in with their objectives. So if I'm interested in STEM, I probably may not want to show that I'm a barista, for example, because that experience may not directly relate to the position that I'm applying for. And students can add as many employment opportunities that they've had. Nothing is too big or too small again. So the more they have, whether they work at the library or they worked over the summer or they work during the school year, as many options that they have is good for them. So we have all of our information in our resume. Now we can save it. I'm going to hit save right here. And I'm going to title it. And then next, I'm going to click on View Saved Resumes. And we can either edit or view. For this case, we'll view it. And this is our final result. So all of our information from the objective to the employment, to the education, certifications, activities, honors and awards, and skills, they all show up on my final resume. Once a student creates their resume, they will be able to choose their resume style. So whether they prefer classic or modern, they can easily change the style just by clicking this little open bubble. You can see that the format changes. They can also download the resume as a PDF or a Word document. And lastly, students can also start a new resume and also view any other saved resume that they have created. So let's say I want to view this resume. I can click on that button and see what I have added. So this is another resume that I've created. And again, keep in mind that for any jobs that your student has worked in the past, so for example, I put in my dates here, my description of my duties for that job are in past tense because I currently don't work there. And these jobs that I've had, they support my objectives that I have put in. But it's really, there's no limit to the amount of resumes that your student can create. I've created a dozen at this point. So we definitely encourage your student to come in here and create a resume. It's super easy to navigate and super easy to create and save. And there's no limit on how many resumes, again, you can create. You can also edit this resume by selecting and deselecting whichever is on here. And lastly, you can just remember to update this resume and then hit save. And then that's about it. So we can go back to our saved resume to do the one that we worked on tonight. This is our final resume. And I definitely think that this platform, again, is very easy and interactive and completely free. So if you're wondering if MEFA Pathway will charge or does charge to use this, the answer is no. We definitely are excited to offer this platform to students on the journey to career and college, and also planning for post-secondary success. I'm going to see if we had any questions. So we have one question, or two questions, sorry. Is this to build a resume for a prospective college student or for parents as a supplement to the FAFSA or CSS profile? Does this information on the pathway profile sync to the common application? So for the first part of your question, this resume builder can be used, anyone can use it. So whether you're in high school or you're in college, anyone can create an account to utilize MEFA Pathway. It's not necessarily a supplement to the FAFSA or the CSS profile. It's a separate component, but anyone can create an account and utilize MEFA Pathway. We don't take accounts away. If your student is in high school and is about to graduate, he or she still has their account and they're still able to log in. We don't take accounts away. And this information on the pathway profile sync to the common application. So this information does not sync to Common App. I know Common App is another platform that we are integrated with, but not the profile. They're two separate applications. And we have another question. Does the resume builder carry to 2 pages in a smooth way if you have a lot of jobs that would push it to 2 pages? Does resume builder carry 2 pages in a smooth way? Yes, so you can add as many jobs to the resume builder as you would like. There's no limit to the types of jobs that you would like, that you have. And if you have more jobs, like then the 1-page format, it does transition to a nice page. You're able to view what that looks like before you add it or add it to a PDF or download it. But really, you want to make sure that if your resume does end up being to 2 pages, that you add that information in your My Profile details so it shows up here. But it does show up nicely in a 2-page format. That's a great question. Are there any other questions before we conclude for the night? If not, that's okay. That was a really great, those are really great questions. And I appreciate all the time that you all have joined in for this webinar. If you have any further questions, I'll send along a recording link to this webinar, and I'll also include our contact information. So if you have any further questions or comments or concerns, definitely feel free to reach out to us. And again, my name is Asia. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for creating and updating a resume with MEFA Pathway. And I hope that you all stay safe and have a great night. Thank you.